definitely be getting a little
Broke
ready.
immediately. Broke immediately. No pressure. Man broke under no pressure.
Sat down and
He hit the record button and immediately shattered. There was no recording. There's no cut, ready, action.
Is your green light on? I hope so.
I hope
this
the
is-
green. I hope it's
Let me see.
working. It looks like it's working.
Is it? You should be able to see it up there.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we should be getting good audio. We only had one microphone today, so he took the hit of putting it on his brim of his cap. By the way, I'm Joe. This is Ryan, my son, and we're here to discuss movies. We're calling this podcast Cinema or
Swill.
Swill. So it could be cinema and swill. Some movies will have both of those in them, right?
Yeah.
What are we discussing today, Ryan?
The movie Friendship, headed by Tim Robinson, and something of a extrapolation of much of his sketches. If you are familiar with his work in I Think You Should Leave, it mirrors a lot of the same works there.
Which I was not familiar with this actor, and apparently he's a comedian, deadpan. So you knew a lot about him, right?
I knew some. I haven't done much or watched much. I Think You Should Leave, but I'm familiar.
Is that the name of his show?
Yes.
I Think You Should Leave?
Yes, that's the name of the show. See, we learn things every day.
So we always
He does. We do a lot of research for this podcast. We delve deep and make sure that we're well familiar.
Top shelf.
Getting top shelf, as you can see, and I hope you're learning quickly who is actually the informed one and who's the uninformed one. So
we chose this movie because we disagree on its quality. We disagree on its goodness.
To be fair, there's a lot of movies we could pick with with that specific criterion asked.
That's true. I have my iPad under here, so I'm looking at notes because I can't remember anything.
No,
He's just got it all in his head. So, Friendship, the movie.
Yes.
So just a little bit about us. We're both from Seattle. I've raised him. He's in college now. And what I've noted about his childhood is how often wrong he was, how many bad opinions. Like we talk about Tom Brady a lot. He's the GOAT in my world. Ryan doesn't believe in the GOAT concept.
It's not a thing.
And I did say my name, right, Joe?
Joe, yeah.
Okay, let's make sure I got that.
It's Joe.
Joe.
In case you missed it the first few times, he's Joe.
You see how this is going. All right, so Friendship, the movie. Back to the topic. I think I'm supposed to do a synopsis now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. So for me, my synopsis is that there's this really lonely guy, and male loneliness is a real issue that I think, especially in my age category, you see a lot of older guys who, we've worked our whole lives, behind the computer. We've changed a lot of, I'm in IT, he's in IT, so that's one thing we do share. You're working and you change jobs. Unless you're super intentional, it's difficult to keep and maintain friendships. Maybe that's even for women as well, but for men, there's a male loneliness. They say it's an epidemic, right? So this really was interesting to me as a concept, as this older guy, the middle-aged, is trying to make a friend almost a little too desperately. He finds Paul Rudd's character. Do you remember the character's name?
No.
So
we did a lot of research.
We didn't remember.
We did a lot of research.
But Paul Rudd's character is kind of the cool guy, right? He moves in next door. The wife says, "Hey, why don't you go make a friend?" And he hits it off with this guy. Paul Rudd's super welcoming, and there will be spoilers in this because we can't avoid them, especially since we haven't scripted hardly any of this. So it goes poorly. The character, what's his name? Paul Richardson?
Craig.
Craig Richardson.
No, Craig is the character.
Craig is the character. He remembers the character. So Craig, and this has been a couple of months since we've seen it, to be honest. So we could have watched it.
Tim Robinson is the actor.
Tim Robinson. Okay, so Tim Robinson's character is a little too desperate, and he goes into Paul Rudd's house. There's a bad interaction with him. We don't have to go into all the details.
No.
And Paul Rudd says, "You know what? Maybe we shouldn't be friends." And this is all in the trailer, so I don't know how much of a spoiler that is. And the antics begin as this guy tries to get back in to the cool kids circle, to the guys circle, and he feels really put out. And he's a narcissist, right? So we agreed on that. It's a clever A24 film, and the reason that one of the things that was distracting for me is that it was an A24 film. So I'm always ready for somebody to die or something horrible to happen. And it was more cringe Office Space kind of horrible than it was just death and destruction like you'd see in many or just despair. There was quite a bit of despair, honestly. Long story short, this guy, he doesn't make it. RJ, he does horrible things, and and at the end he's carted away in a police car, right? And Paul Rudd's, kind of like, see you later, buddy. But I mean, he almost ruins Paul Rudd's character. Is is a weatherman, and he's a drummer, and he's just beyond cool. And this character just falls in love with him a little too hard, and he can't get over the fact that they rejected him so quickly, and it was super painful to watch. Okay, that's my synopsis. That's where I felt it was super awkward.
It was a very Christopher Nolan synopsis because it wasn't very in order, but it works out. Yeah, but they covered most of the movie. It was really just seeing a person who has never had a genuine human interaction in their life before experience genuine human interactions and then not understand them. That was what you went through the whole movie, and then watching that and watching someone not learn what humans are like, and just having gone through their whole life not understanding any other human person, and then seeing someone cooler than them and wanting to be like that person. It's quite an experience.
It is an experience,
so to say.
He does have human interactions, though. He has a wife and a son.
Yeah,
and
but I don't know how he got them.
Right,
if we're being entirely honest.
And what, I don't know if you picked up on this, but when the movie opens, the wife is already pretty unhappy.
Yeah, it's not a happy marriage.
It's not a happy
and
marriage.
The son like calls him by his first name.
Yeah,
Craig.
I never understood that.
Yeah,
like, was he
just
adopted?
Craig.
Just Craig. He calls him Craig.
Craig.
But yeah, so and then the wife's like, I'm going to go out with people, and she's got a career. She's a flower. She's like a florist, right?
Yeah.
And she keeps asking him for a bigger car, and she's got this tiny car. He doesn't listen. So I guess since he's kind of disconnected, and that doesn't go well either.
Mm-hmm.
The wife drifts off and finds interaction other places, and I mean, this guy basically pushed her out of his life. It was horrible.
I was going to say drifts off is quite a generous way to put what happens in this film, but. Yeah. She certainly drifts off. If you've seen the film, you know exactly what I am speaking of. Yeah. She drifts off
the tunnels
under the city.
Yeah, right. And it's just horrible.
Quite literally drifts.
He just doesn't connect with her very well, and he's not tracking what's happening. So it's like he doesn't connect to anybody in the film.
No.
And there's a weird the drug thing is weird, where he licks a frog.
The frog.
Nothing happens except he goes to a Subway.
He goes to a Subway and tries to order from Paul Rudd, but doesn't successfully order from Paul Rudd.
And that's the craziest thing.
It's a humorous scene.
Like, I don't know. So maybe we should go to the next section of why we did or did not like it. So what do you think?
I think you've started drifting into the second section already in your synopsis, but again, we're Christopher Nolan here. We are jumping middle, end, beginning, no order whatsoever. But I was a fan of the film. It was certainly, as I said, an experience. It was quite a watch, and not one to go through with for the faint of heart. But it's like imagining social anxiety, and then what people with social anxiety, which I personally think I have some social anxiety, how you see yourself in social interactions, and then that's a person, and that's Tim Robinson's character. It's just pure and utter. No connection, no joke lands, no thought makes sense in the area. Everything's overbearing, everything's misplaced. It's pure and utter self-perception with social anxiety, if that was actually what was happening, right?
He's personified.
Personified version of how you see yourself there. And then even Paul Rudd's character is not perfect, even though Tim Robinson sees him as this perfect entity. He has the wig. He wears a wig the whole time, and then
it's kind of his wig spot, right?
Yeah, the wig is I think, and a lot of that you also see in the sense that when he first meets Craig, he's this cool guy who plays guitar and collects old things and goes and eats mushrooms from the forest, but he doesn't really do any of that into the later half of the film.
That's true.
So it's like all of that is a persona, much like a weatherman would have. It's something that, like, his whole personality, most of Paul Rudd's personality is something put on, just like Tim Robinson, but Paul Rudd's actually successful at putting on that face. Tim Robinson can't figure out how humans work, so he doesn't manage to get the face on correct, and reach his uncanny valley. That's a lot of what it felt like to me, and it's also just a very funny film. Once you completely disconnect from liking Craig Robinson or Tim Robinson whatsoever, you can just laugh at him because you just don't like him. You like he makes himself so unlikable so early. As soon as you realize like this guy is a pure narcissist, he's making apps more addictive. That's his literal job.
Yeah,
There's nothing
that's
to
right.
enjoy about this person, and it's kind of this like Schadenfreude of just looking at that person who is kind of despicable and just being like, wow, it's really funny that he doesn't understand humans whatsoever. And it's cringy. You're like, oh man, I see myself a little in this character, but obviously not to the extremes. It's relatable in that sense, but it's just the relatable bits are blown up into the broader, way beyond what any actual normal person would do. um and so it kind of runs that line of like us seeing the worst of ourselves in this character, and it being the personification of the worst of ourselves. And it's a really interesting and funny watch for that reason. And it's also just kind of absurd. And if you can be a dog on the highway and stick your head out the window and enjoy the wind, you can enjoy this movie.
Maybe I can't do that.
No.
Okay, my turn.
Yeah.
So I think the way you started was that it was funny, and that's where you're wrong.
That's not where I
It just
started, but
wasn't
it's
funny. For me, the movie it was billed as the best, the funniest comedy of the year, and I was waiting and waiting, and I'm like, this is a torture show. I feel like I'm dying inside. I'm like hiding behind my hands because this guy keeps screwing up. One thing he does is the drum set.
oh yeah,
He wants to join the band, so he buys this beautiful drum set. It's like, why are you buying all this? You don't even know how to play. And he wheels it over to Paul Rudd's house. It's just such a it was sad. It wasn't funny. And but I think so. I'm giving my whole thing on what I think of the movie.
yeah.
So I think and so I'm expecting either death and destruction from the A24 brand, or I'm expecting funny, which is crazy for me in an A24 context. I was kind of curious about how they were going to do that. I don't think they've ever done a comedy.
Definitely done a very broad range of
But
films.
they're incredible. I don't have any. I mean, my kids that's their studio of choice. For me, this one, no, it's okay. So it wasn't funny. The guy was completely unlikable. I think we agree on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But for me, I kind of like to latch on to I need to identify with somebody in the film. I couldn't identify with Paul Rudd because he's a little too awkward and a little bit. He got really nervous when he became a daytime weatherman and got kind of bitter, or you just anxiety ridden himself. So he wasn't likable. Um, the most sympathetic character might have been the wife, I think.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
even she got just terribly treated, and and the son wasn't treated all that much better. It's just a lot of, but there's no one we really could really go on to there.
Yeah, because the wife and the son had very little screen time.
They did. They
in
weren't
general. They
very.
weren't.
Him and Paul Rudd were the most prominent. He even alienates his work team, where he wants to end up doing his own software, and this team. Oh, he invites them over too to kind of recreate this group that he got kicked out of. I forgot about that part, and that doesn't go well because he's just too awkward and self-centered to figure it out. Ends up I think what does he do? Kick everybody out?
Yeah, he kicks him out.
So
I believe.
It's so depressing, not funny, and no one to really latch yourself onto and root for at the end. And the end scene is just a welcome relief that it's over. All right, so now
and it's a welcome relief that it's over. It's wild. It's wild.
But at the same time, I could tell it was a quality movie. The performances were over the top in quality. I think the film had great pacing.
Yeah.
And if cringe was the currency, it knocked it out of park.
Yeah.
Okay, now debate, right?
Yeah. Now we debate. What do you think?
I kind of said it, so I'll start. Like, it's not funny. How do you think it's funny?
It's so ridiculous, and it is like, again, it's Schadenfreude. It's looking at a person who is pure narcissist. They're purely narcissistic, purely self-centered, and seeing them fail to understand what genuine friendship is, and what like actually having friends looks like and feels like, and gets just a taste of that feeling with Paul Rudd, gets a taste of it, and is like, ooh, I really want more of this, but can't find it because they don't understand that it's not something you can take.
Mm.
Friendship isn't something you can steal. It's not something you can, grab. So they try to and just get battered down at every last element. And it's kind of funny to watch because it's the one place where genuineness is actually the winning strategy, but it now you're seeing a person who isn't genuine losing. They're losing because of the simple fact that they don't understand it.
But that's so painful. That last scene when he drives the car. So he's trying to so he buys his car. They kind of separate, and he buys his wife this minivan that fits the flowers. So she's so happy, and you got a sense that she's coming back into the relationship with him. And you're like, he's gonna win. He's gonna do something right. What does he do? He takes that van, plows it into Paul Rudd's house, goes in with a gun, and the climax of the film is he nearly kills people. Paul Rudd's wig falls off.
Yeah.
It's just cringe all over the place. And that's when the cops come. But he blows it right at the very end. And you're like, this is just so sad. So I don't understand how you can see this as being funny.
How does an Irish man not see how something's sad? He's half Irish, half Italian, like quarter each. So I don't see how a half Irish, half Italian person with a dark sense of we joke about death constantly, and he's like, "Oh man, it's so sad. Sad things can't be funny."
We also say things like, "Boy, it'd be terrible if we ran over a dog right now," or something like that.
Yeah,
we go there, but that's different than when you advertise in big print that this is the funniest film of the year, and I'm crying at the end. I'm like, "Oh, I feel like I need to take a shower." Did you actually laugh during that movie?
Yes, multiple times I remember laughing. More cringing, obviously, because you're cringing basically constantly because
cringing.
He's constantly doing something ridiculous that is totally socially inept and doesn't make sense with the situation. Like, you're always cringing, but that's kind of funny.
It's not funny.
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny how cringy it tries to break past that intentional cringe. It breaks through the intentional cringe in order to be funny at the same time. Like it tries to do something and it succeeds at that thing. It's trying to show you the cringiest individual on the planet, and someone who completely doesn't understand social cues at all, and that's the person that you see. So they succeed at what they're trying to do.
Okay. But explain to me the licking frog thing. So he goes to this guy and says, "I need a high because my life is miserable." He licks a frog, and I guess the point is even that doesn't work for him, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't. That wasn't his fault.
I mean, he's seeking because he's still seeking another way to fix the problems that are just inherent in him. Like he has a problem and he's looking for outside solutions. He's saying, I'm not the problem. It's the fact that I haven't tried drugs. It's the fact that these people that I just have they're bad.
Yeah.
It's their problem. They lied to me. They broke a promise. They did X. They did Y. My wife got lost in the tunnels. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
I was trying to take her on a date night.
Exactly. It's her. It's them. It's someone else.
Yeah. It's always somebody else's
fault. And the truth is that Tim Robinson needs to look like the character Craig needs to look inwards first. So that drug scene is just another extrapolation, another scene of him trying to find some outside solution, some answer that isn't just the self.
Yeah, trying to find his vitality out there when really it's within yourself.
Yeah,
that
he has all the things. He has the things he needs.
He's got the wife. He's got
he's got a house. He's got a kid. He's got a good job. Yeah. He can buy a car.
Yeah, he's got the capabilities. He's got the money. Smarts. He's successful.
Yeah.
I think that scene was wasted though because he goes to it felt like it killed the pacing. It didn't have a point. I mean, other than that, I think the whole thing, and I didn't hate the movie because I didn't think it was funny whatsoever, but I found it fascinating to watch this guy crash and burn. It was like rubbernecking on the freeway, see the car accident. You see, that's a little like what it was, but I always feel guilty after I rubberneck at a car accident scene. So I felt guilty watching this guy burn. You didn't feel guilty.
No, it was catharsis, I think, or because again, it's making you feel guilty, but it's actively counteracting its own guiltiness by telling you this character is kind of terrible. Like this is a narcissist. This is a person who thinks primarily of themselves, and just thinks, like you see it pretty much constantly in the film that anytime something happens, he's like, oh, it's always, oh, I'm right, you're wrong.
Mhm.
I'm correct. You're the one who's struggling here. You're the one who's in the wrong. And even though he's breaking into their house with a gun, he's
Yeah,
breaking into their house, stealing a gun, and then coming back to their house with said
with
gun.
that same gun.
That's the
I thought he was going to kill somebody because, again, A24, that didn't happen. You know, the last scene of the movie when he's looking out, so the Craig is in the car, the
mhm,
cop car, and he's looking at Paul Rudd's face, and he's yearning. See if you see it this way. He's yearning for something, and Paul Rudd turns around and winks at him, like
mhm,
gives him a little bit of love, and the guy's happy, right?
yeah,
So he's so dependent on everyone else's opinion of him that he, even in the cop car driving away, his life is ruined. He finds happiness in Paul Rudd's, in that vitality in somebody else. Still so sad. I'm like, this is just a train wreck. So I don't know. And what else emerged? I would have liked to see the wife again and see her reaction to this, trash in the car and almost killing. Those characters I don't think had enough screen time. Um,
they're too normal for this movie,
the weird
frankly.
phone. There was a lot of weird like cul-de-sacs. Like
Hmm.
they drop the phone in the he drops the phone in the swamp, and then Paul Rudd says, "I don't have a phone." Lies, right?
Yeah,
And
lies.
then
It's still a facade. That's what I'm saying. Though,
yeah.
like Paul Rudd's whole character is facade.
So
It's
even he's not likable. When you
no,
always like everyone likes Paul Rudd. It's almost impossible not to like him in any film. But in this one, yeah, he was a little. So he lies to him, says, "Oh no, I actually do have a phone," because he answers it, and then so now the character has to run out and get his own phone again, Craig.
yeah.
Oh, and that's where he finds the drug frog. And it's just a weird. This whole thing was weird, and I don't know. It was I don't know what the runtime was. It was a short
It's
runtime,
fairly short. It was like an hour and a half.
so that's one of the reasons we picked it. A little background on why we watched this. So his brother, my eldest son, says you guys got to watch Friendship.
He
It's
didn't
hilarious
exactly say that. He suggested that we watch it while he was in town. We didn't, and then we revisited it.
because we had my daughter and her boyfriend in town, so it was
And
six
his
of us.
reaction when we texted that we watched it was, "You guys actually watched it?" So
Yeah,
I don't know if he was actually expecting us to go through with it.
we
But
were looking for a movie and it was
you're
short.
looking for a movie.
So again, he told me he said it was funny.
It is funny.
It's not
It
funny.
was funny.
So for the reason it's not, should we wrap it up?
We can.
I think we should wrap it up.
We're kind of going in circles
22
here.
minutes. Now we can do some editing, right?
Well, yeah. I
Or maybe
mean,
we just don't.
maybe we
It's
just
perfect.
don't edit
It's
anything
perfect the way it is.
because now this is what my mom, his wife, hears
All
constantly.
day.
Anytime I'm home, we talk about any topic. This is the concept of the podcast.
90% of the time.
Is just exposing you to a minute of Fekarata family life, and how horrible it is. Truthfully, hearing one very wrong person and one very right person discuss things, together.
He's a smart kid, but he doesn't have a lot of experience, right? So, and I think actually we look at cinema and movies for different things. Like
Yeah.
I'm a huge Marvel guy, and you used to be a Marvel guy.
Marvel
But
it has good movies,
It has good movies, but
then they just kept making movies.
and we do agree on that. So I think as it was a Phase 4.
Yeah.
Phase 4. They should have. I don't know. Phase 4. Should. Anyway, we don't want. Maybe that's next time. We're gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna say this movie is not cinema.
Swill.
Swill.
He forgets the name every
Swill.
single time.
And it's my podcast. Swill. Cinema. I want to say cinema and swine, but it's Swill with some merit. And sometimes it might be cinema and Swill. A little bit of good and bad. But this one, I think it's mostly Swill.
It's cinema. It's
Mostly cinema?
It's mostly cinema. I mean, it's obviously not a perfect movie, but it's cinema. It's
just because it's A24 doesn't mean it's good.
I had to Google earlier because I wasn't sure it was A24. It makes sense that it's A24.
Yes,
but,
it does because they are on the edge. I think that's their brand, is to be weird.
They just take risks. That's the thing, and that's what I respect about A24 is that they take risks. While Lilo and Stitch, the remake, is airing, and Tron Ares is also running.
Tron. He wouldn't even go to the theater with me, which might have been a good choice.
Probably was a good choice. Its box office is lower than Morbius, and it has Jared Leto starring.
But-
Not gonna be good.
But speaking of box office, Friendship, the movie, did not do very well.
I didn't see a single advertisement.
So
it was
this was a studio
It
artist.
was an insular film.
And they probably wisely didn't spend a lot of money on it. Anyway, well, that's our first episode. We apologize for making you watch us. No.
Make you listen.
This is our first time. And if you have any suggestions, pop them in the chat. But
Yeah.
be kind. He's a young man. Doesn't know his weaknesses.
You know, you'll see a trend as you continue to listen, because you're obviously going to listen to more episodes of this. You'll see that he always forgets everything, and I remember it. So think about that while you're thinking about who's right in this discussion. Is who actually remembers any piece of the film?
I think
Who actually remembers any details or information or facts?
It's the little names. I'm terrible with names.
I'm also pretty bad with names, but I actually remember some of them. I remember some of them. I also just looked at the letterbox, so that's how I remembered Craig. But Tim Robinson,
Never heard of the other things. Anyway, thanks for watching.
we're sorry.